Hey everyone, Uriah Kaiser, PLN, and PotomacLocal.com. We are live for our Publishers Podcast at 1 o'clock today. Thank you for joining us. We're going to be live here for the hour. Got a lot of stuff to get to. And of course, we're being joined today by our special guest, Delegate Ian Lovejoy, who will be coming in here momentarily to talk with us and give us an update on what he's up to, and of course, comment on all of the news that we've got for you this hour on the Publishers Podcast here on PLN. If you are joining us, please drop a comment in the stream. Please wave and say hello. We love to have you. We love to hear from you. We love that you're joining us here on this Monday afternoon, December 1st. Can't believe it is December already, the Christmas season well underway, and hey, I'm here for it. I'll be honest, I've had Christmas music on intermittently in the car for weeks now. Thank you, Pandora, for giving me so many stations to choose from, different genres and vibes and whatnot. So always cool to be able to. Actually, I was walking to Walmart yesterday with my family. We're going to go pick up some groceries because we pretty much ate everything for Thanksgiving. We had to restock, and I was singing to my little 2-year-old, who was actually singing Jingle Bells to me, and I was singing it back as I was carrying him in, and somebody randomly from out of nowhere said, "Yeah, you're right, it's after Thanksgiving, we can sing Christmas songs now." And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So that was kind of cool to have that interaction. So speaking of Christmas, this weekend we have an announcement to make. I'm very excited about this. It is the holiday season's here, and there's so much going on in the area. You have to pull out your calendar and pencil in the things that you're going to do for Christmas and the holidays. And so what we have, one of the things that we will be doing on Saturday, we will be live streaming from the Fredericksburg Christmas Parade. We are so excited about that. We will be live, beaming the parade out live here to our YouTube channel and to our website at PotomacLocal.com. We will be live on the grounds of Norton Pelt Law. Big shout out to Norton Pelt Law, who has graciously not only allowed us to broadcast from their property at the corner of Princess Anne and Amelia Street in downtown Fredericksburg, but also has agreed, just volunteered. Agreed isn't the right word, volunteered to build a platform that we can sit on and live stream from during the parade. That is going to be so cool. So when I say we, joining me on the parade is Potomac Local's own Kelly Sienkowski. You know her from our YouTube channel, and of course her reporting over the years on PotomacLocal.com. So we are excited to do the parade live stream. Now the parade is an evening parade, and I'm going to pull up the events, the information for the Christmas parade online here. So the 2025 Christmas parade theme is around the world. That's the theme. And the Fredericksburg Christmas parade will be held rain or shine on December 6th. That is Saturday, 2025. December 6th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. So again, rain, shine, or snow, the parade will go on, and so will we. We can't wait to be down there. So there will be street closures. If you are thinking about going down to the parade, there will be street closures, we are told. They start about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 3:30 in the afternoon. Side streets starting to close at 2 o'clock, and then the main all streets downtown will be closed by 3:30. And they do say that people will be towed, so do be careful if you are going down to the Fredericksburg Christmas Parade and you are parking in a no parking zone. The city says they will be towing, so be aware of that. So again, Kelly and I will be down there at Norton Pelt Law at this corner of Amelia and Princess Anne Streets to live stream the 2025 Fredericksburg Christmas Parade. We can't wait. And of course, there's so many other parades going on that day. I know Manassas has their morning parade. It's a morning parade, kicks off 10 a.m. And Spotsylvania County also has a Christmas parade happening that day. So there are plenty of Christmas events. You can find more going to our website, potomaclocal.com, and clicking on our events page. You can also if you want to get the word out about your event, you can post it to our event page at no cost. You go to potomaclocal.com and click on submit event. Actually, it's going to go to our events. If I walk you through it here, I mean, I've got the website in front of me. I should just be able to kind of exactly tell you how to do it. So you go to potomaclocal.com, hover over calendar, and then click submit event. So there's a free option there. It's a great way to get your event listed at no charge. And of course, if you want more visibility, if you want more eyeballs on your event, you want to promote it and make a bigger splash, we have some paid options where you can put it into our newsletter, you can put it onto our website. All of that is, and I believe those are called announcements. So right next to calendar, you can go to the website, potomaclocal.com, and select announcement and put it there. So we'd love to see that. Just going briefly on our page right now, we've got some news on VDOT is seeking more information, more public input on its STARS study for Hoadley Road. They say the study evaluates potential safety and operational transit and bicycle pedestrian improvements along the 5-mile section of Hoadley Road between Dumfries Road, Route 234, and Prince William Parkway, where traffic volumes range from 12,000 to 25,000 vehicles per day. A lot of cars there. So if you want to tell VDOT what you think about the safety and how traffic flows on that portion of Hoadley Road in Woodbridge, head over to our website, potomaclocal.com, and get more information on that study. Also on our site this afternoon, we have got a very cool thing in Fredericksburg happening. John Maxwell is slated to come to Fredericksburg in February 2026. We are reporting this, the Live to Lead Fredericksburg. That's the event. They are holding a leadership event, a one-day conference at the Fredericksburg Convention Center on February 10th. It's going to be looks like it's going to be a great event. A lot of buzz about this as I travel around town and talk to different people, especially at the networking events. There is a buzz about this, so that is so cool. There's a slate of leaders that are there to present. So if you want more information about this Live to Lead Fredericksburg, go to our website, potomaclocal.com, and click on that story for more. Big congratulations to North Stafford football. They are going to states. Fredericksburg Free Press reporting that they beat Woodbridge 49-33 in the Region 6B championship game, earning the school's first regional title since 2019 and advancing to host West Springfield in the Class 6 state semifinals next Saturday at 2 p.m. The Wolverines of North Stafford tallied 414 yards of offense, forced 6 turnovers, and delivered 2 defensive touchdowns to seal the win. This coming from a program that just a short time ago really had no wins. And so they have turned things around there in North Stafford. And we actually, not this year, but last year, we actually got to go to a football game at North Stafford, and the energy there is great. I believe that's actually the school. My wife went to high school there, and it's just a lot of memories for her, and it was so cool for her to be able to go back into the football stadium where she was in color guard and did all that fun stuff that you do when you're in high school. It was such a fun time, and of course, to be at the football game in fall with family. That was also very fun. So congratulations to the Wolverines for their victory over Woodbridge. And it looks like the Santa trains will return. I mean, VRE announced that they've got their tickets on sale. In-person vendors went on sale today from 10 a.m. to noon at designated vendor locations. Online tickets. Now, this is key. If you want an online ticket to the Santa train, and I'll explain what the Santa train is in just a minute, but the online sales, they sell out quick. I mean, you have got to be Freddy Fastfinger on Johnny on the spot on these online sales. They start tomorrow morning, Tuesday at 10 a.m. through Eventbrite until they are sold out. All passengers must have a ticket regardless of age, and tickets are non-refundable. Additional details are available through VRE's ticket sale information. So if you're not familiar, the Santa train is very popular. They run multiple trains on both the Fredericksburg and Manassas lines, the two lines that comprise VRE, Virginia Railway Express, Virginia's only commuter railroad. And every December, Santa gets on the train and greets the children, and it's a family fun-filled day. It is a lot of fun. Tickets, like I said, though, they sell out quick. So if you are doing some online shopping tomorrow, don't forget to head over to VRE's website if you want to ride the Santa trains. And of course, if you want more information about the Santa trains, head over to our website, PotomacLocal.com, and find out more about the Santa trains. Also in Manassas, from trains to carriages, the Downtown Manassas Historic Manassas Inc. is posting that the horse-drawn carriage rides will be available for the first 3 Sundays in December 2025, December 7th, 14th, and 21st, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. They're saying they're using a carriage ride company so that you can reserve your carriage ride times early and in advance without having to wait in line in prior years. Rides will begin at the Manassas Railroad Depot and loop through the city's holiday-decorated downtown. Tickets are free, but must be reserved in advance for providing the link. So if you've ever seen these carriage rides through downtown Manassas, they are very beautiful. It's very neat. It's a very unique thing, and it's a fun way to see downtown Manassas at Christmas time, which is always decked out in the lights there. So if you want more information on how you can hop on the carriage ride and see Manassas at Christmas time, head over to our website, PotomacLocal.com. If you want to see a funny episode of Seinfeld, which was my favorite, where Kramer is the carriage ride operator and there's a giant can of beefaroni involved, you can also check that out, not at PotomacLocal.com, but probably somewhere on your nearest streaming service, probably Hulu or something like that. So, random Seinfeld reference. And with that random Seinfeld reference, we're going to bring on no one random. You know him. Delegate Ian Lovejoy joins us here on the Publishers Podcast. Delegate Lovejoy. Ian, thanks for coming on.
Happy to be here, Uri. Thanks for having me. Good to be on the podcast.
Yeah, no, this is great. So I texted Ian last night and I said, "Hey man, I would really love it if you would come on the show and talk about the news, talk about what you're doing, just talk about, just what's going on." And we have a lot to talk about today. I'm going to sort of tease what we've got. One of the things I'm really, really, really most excited about is this great American restaurant coming to Gainesville in 2027. And so if you know about great American restaurants, they have some of your favorite brands, Sweetwater, Mike's American, Patty's. Yeah. And so we're going to get to all the details about this. I'm very excited about this because there is no great American restaurant outside of sort of Fairfax County. They don't go, there may be one in Loudon, I'm not sure, but they typically don't come that far south. So very excited about that. Plus on the show today, the SEC approves a new rate class for data centers. And how could we do a Potomac Local podcast without talking about data centers? It's not a day that ends in Y when we're not talking about data centers. So we'll talk about how this might change regulation of data centers, what it all means for ratepayers who, like us, have seen their electricity rates go higher and higher and higher, and just with that, the approved new rate increases for electricity here in Virginia. And just because we like to bring you all the news when it's timely, we're going to talk about Thanksgiving road travel and the new seatbelt law. And this, of course, this is a story we probably should have brought you before Thanksgiving road travel, but here we are. It's after Thanksgiving. It never hurts to talk about new seatbelt laws in the state of Virginia. So before we get to all that, how are you?
I'm well, sir. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Survived the holiday, I take it. So you're working on a Monday. You're working on the Monday after Thanksgiving. So
Yeah.
I already tipped my hat at you because I have no data to back this up, but I feel like this is one of the least productive Mondays of the year. And for people who, most people, I think a lot of people extend their vacation to include the day, and those who are showing up are not firing on all cylinders. So good on you for coming into work today.
We are back, and I'm actually, you can't see this, but I'm being powered by Jackery right now because before you came on, I did an announcement. We're going to live stream the Fredericksburg Christmas Parade in its entirety on Saturday, coming up this Saturday.
Nice.
And so I went out and I bought this giant Jackery box with solar panels and all kinds of things that I don't even know where to begin how to use them. And so I said, let me just plug this in and test it to see if this will work. And I think I plugged it in at like 9 a.m. We're at 1:15, 1:20 now, and we're only at 50%. And I've been running my whole thing.
You are off the grid.
Yeah, I'm as we speak. Everything that we're doing right now is off the grid. It's
a sunny day, so you've got that going for you.
Yes,
that seems like a prerequisite. So
and my window,
that's good.
Right over here, Obi. So we're excited about that. So powered on Jackery, powered on turkey gravy, powered on all kinds of good things. Well, thank you for joining us. So Delegate Ian Lovejoy joins us on the podcast today. We're going to talk about data centers, right? We have a new...
Impossible not to.
Yes, a new rate class. This story comes to us from Loud Now. Hannah Pamploni on November 25th. The SEC approves new Dominion rate class for data centers. Yeah. The State Corporation Commission approved Dominion Energy's creation of a new GS5 rate class for data centers and other high demand users of the 25 megawatts or more, effective January 1st, 2027. The State Corporation Commission also approved partial residential rate increases far lower than what Dominion requested. So here are the key points to this. Data centers typically request 100 megawatts to 1 gigawatt. New rules require users to pay minimum percentages of contracted demand. The SEC cites surging energy demand is, shocker, driven by data centers. Who knew? Who knew that? Who knew?
Except everyone. But yes, who knew?
And approved residential rate increases. Now, here are the numbers, right? First of all, I'll just say this. Your bill is going up. My bill is going up. Anybody who lives in Virginia and gets electricity in Virginia, your bill's going up because Dominion is the one that provides it. Whether you have Dominion as your power company or Novec as your power company, Dominion supplies the power to wherever you are. So rate increases, it's $11.24. in 2026. So you'll see that hit next year. And then the following year, you'll see it increase again, $2.36 in 2027. And so with all of this, I mean, I think, it stinks that we're going to have to pay more, right? But what do you think? Does this signal a turning point in how Virginia regulates its data centers with this creation of this new GS5 rate?
I mean, the GS5 rate, it's certainly not nothing. I think that, it's hard to sort of celebrate about that too much when simultaneously you're seeing the base rate for everybody go up as well. But I do think, I think the rate was going to go up no matter what. Like you were going to see your rate, data centers or no data centers, just the environment of production and producing and distributing power, you were going to see a request for your rate to go up anyway. And that's sort of one issue. But the issue of the data center stuff, I mean, it's a big deal. It's the first time the powers that be have acknowledged that data centers are not paying their fair share. And there's all you could do an entire podcast just on that topic. But I mean, the short of it is it's the first time in the state's history that you could pin our surging power needs on one industry. Historically, the argument has always been you're building houses, you're also building office buildings, you're building malls, you're building townhouses. The commercial need and the private need have kind of raised together over time. And so a socialized rate, or a rate that everybody kind of pays together, a pool that we all pay into, made sense, because you really couldn't peg one development or one industry, one housing development, one mall for ultimately being, the straw that breaks the camel's back and adds a whole bunch of demand to the system. And that was the détente between sort of the residential and the commercial needs since Edison, I suppose, for a long time in the Commonwealth. And finally, what we all knew is the data centers, by their very nature, they're power hogs, and they need, just unimaginable amounts of power. I mean, we're talking about the megawatts and the gigawatts, and it's small cities. Like, each data center is sucking up the same amount of power as small cities. And it was intuitively obvious that the rising power needs over the last 5-7 years was data center driven. But government being government, you had to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. And so the study was done. Everyone dove in, spent money, did the thing called a JLARC study, and proved conclusively what we all knew. But at least they were able to quantify it. It's definitive that power demand is being driven by data centers. It's out there for everybody to see. And so that triggered a bunch of legislation. And so I think what you're seeing is the SCC and Dominion, particularly Dominion, trying to get ahead of a legislative fix. The idea is, can you fix this in the existing SCC regulation scheme, the rate class process? Is that sufficient to try to deal with this, instead of the legislature coming in and creating new law? And regulatory bodies probably want to keep things in house and not have the legislature pass new laws every time something interesting happens or different happens. So this is the shot across the bow to the data center industry, saying, okay, and just so that the listeners at home understand what this means, when a data center decides to come online, they give a load letter to Dominion saying, well, we need 500 megawatts. We need 100 megawatts or 75 megawatts or whatever the amount is. And then Dominion is required by law to provide it. The data center, however, is not required to use it. And so what you have is data center developments submitting sort of aspirational goals of how much power they're going to need. But a lot of them are coming in under that, and they're not using that amount of power. And so Dominion's revving up to produce all this power, lay the power lines and the generation infrastructure. But not all the data centers aren't necessarily using it, and they're not using it timely. So what the SCC rate class does is it says, when you submit that load letter, you are going to pay for the amount you're saying up to that 85%, no matter what.
So that's like saying, if it's a really hot day outside, and there's a cooler of water over on the sideline there, and all the kids are really they're coming off the soccer field, they're really thirsty, and there's one kid that grabs 10 waters, leaving fewer for everyone else, and he drinks maybe 4 or 5 of them and says, maybe I'm going to hold on to them. Yeah.
So that's the system we're currently in. And I don't know that we expected the power demand to surge as much as it has, as quickly as it has. And so, as often happens, the government and the regulatory scheme is kind of dragging behind, and it's slower and slower. So this is good news. This is good news. Kind of, it's coupled with the rate increase, which is unfortunate. But whether they solved sort of this data center infrastructure issue, the rate increase was coming no matter what. So,
you have been in the heart of this data center alley. Your district out there in Bristow, Western Prince William County, has seen the influx of data centers over the past 10 years, and we keep using. I'm tired of using the word proliferation, but by gosh, that is just what we have seen, not only in Northern Virginia but across the state. But do you think that this, you call it a shot across the bow? Do you think this may slow the pace of growth for data centers in Virginia? Do you think they may see this and say, oh, wait a minute, they're putting up some pretty tough rules on us. I don't know if we want to play in that sandbox as much as we might have about a year ago.
I don't know. So I don't know where this new policy, where it's going to land in the actual finances of the data center world. It doesn't help. Certainly, I'm sure they're not happy about it. But if the big piece is going to be, they now have to also pay towards their own. If you're building a power line and it's going to a data center, the data center has to help pay for that power line more so than it has in the past. Or if you're bringing a new coal burning or gas burning or nuclear, whatever it is, power plant online to power the data centers, they now have to pay more of a share of that. That's got to trickle down to the bottom line of the data centers. But we're also talking about an industry that's paying $6, $7, $8 million an acre. So can they take a haircut off of those land acquisition costs and now pay 3, 4, 5 million and absorb the rest? And, so take that out and put it towards this new energy cost. I think requiring data centers to pay for their power infrastructure certainly is a dampening effect, but is it enough to bend the arc of where the industry is trying to go? I do not know yet.
Yeah,
it depends on what those numbers end up being. If it's hundreds of millions of dollars to a given data center complex to come online, that probably kills it. If it's tens of millions, I think they find a way to still do it.
Yeah. I mean,
but at least ratepayers aren't paying for it.
Yeah, and that's always been the rub, right? Because these data centers, and people are always like, why won't they go out to the middle of nowhere in the desert or somewhere, somewhere where no one lives? Why do they want to concentrate right here in what not only just the most populous area in the state, but in the nation? Sure. And that's because there's already so much existing power infrastructure here that they can simply tap into. And
it's power, high-speed internet, and water.
Yeah.
So you need power, you need to be able to tap into a main trunk line, and you need clean water to cool the things. And so wherever that nexus exists, you'll see data centers. So it's kind of like oil, right? So it doesn't make sense to dig for oil if the cost per barrel is a certain number, but when the cost per barrel goes up, you dig deeper and get to the harder oil. When the cost per barrel goes down, you don't really dig for that deeper, harder to get to oil. So does this shift a little bit? Do other locations suddenly become more interesting to the data center industry? Can it spread out? Can it decentralize out of Northern Virginia? And does this push in that direction? I don't think it is definitive in that regard, but it's certainly a pressure in that direction.
Well, if you've been following the data center story in Stafford County, we have been following it too. And tomorrow, the Stafford County Board of Supervisors will meet to talk more about data centers. They'll be looking at an exemption for 5 data center projects that would be exempt under the new, more stringent data center rules that they passed this past October 2025. And those projects are Stafford Technology Campus, Potomac Church Tech Center, Centerport Gateway, Vantage VA, and the Cranes Corner Data Center. Those 5 projects listed as potentially exempt from the new rules the board passed. And of course, we'll be following that meeting. Begins tomorrow evening at 5 p.m. We'll have coverage on PotomacLocal.com. What do you think? Do you think that this new rate class for data centers, is it going to force them to pay their own way? Are they going to have to pull up their big boy pants and start paying for their own infrastructure instead of just tapping into what we already have? Do you think they might want to locate elsewhere? If now the state is finally showing some sort of a backbone here, saying, wait a minute, we're pushing back here on the way things have always been done when it comes to data centers. What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let us know. Do you think we should have more data centers? Do you like the data centers? Do you think that they're a great opportunity, a wonderful thing to happen to us here in Virginia? Tell us your thoughts in the comments. I do read them all. I certainly appreciate you taking the time. So, all right. So I've got, we're going to move on to our next story. Delegate Ian Lovejoy joins us on the podcast today, and we are talking about the new seatbelt law. Did you know that you had to wear a seatbelt in Virginia? Did you know that?
I knew that the front seat passengers have had to wear seatbelts, and I believe the law you're talking about has extended that to everyone in the car.
There you go. See, smart man.
Yeah, I might have voted for that.
Well, Good. Well, then I'll let you talk about why you voted, but I will get into the story here. If you are just joining us, like and subscribe, and for more of our Potomac Local podcast, we certainly appreciate you being here. The story comes to us from the Virginia Mercury. Nathaniel Klein over there at the Mercury writing, Virginia drivers face new seatbelt law and express lane changes. Virginia drivers now have a statewide seatbelt law requiring all passengers to buckle up front and back. A 2.5, and there's also a 2.5-mile extension of the I-495 express lanes, also open just before Thanksgiving. So the points of this story here: Virginia historically, it says the Mercury reported that Virginia historically has low seatbelt usage, and advocates pushed for a law to change that after several fatal crashes. So, and of course, this all comes with the expansion of Northern Virginia's infamous toll lane network, and then we have new toll lanes on I-495 taking us all the way to the Cabin John Bridge, or American Legion Bridge, as it were, in Maryland. So this seatbelt law. So it looks like the driver, or at least maybe the front seat passengers, had to wear seatbelts. Now everyone in the car has to wear seatbelts. And Delegate Lovejoy, you voted for this.
I believe we vote on a lot of things, Uriah. My recollection is, if it happened in the last 2 years, I'm sure I probably voted for it. It was, it could have also been before my term began, and it was, granted.
That was the other Delegate Lovejoy that voted for this. Okay, I got
guilty. So, I mean, I think this is why I always like to frame things, and this is sort of a mental experiment that I think, a thought experiment that I think is helpful. Every law is meant to either increase or decrease a behavior. Every law in the books, one way or the other, it is designed to increase or decrease a behavior. So obviously, this law is designed to increase the behavior of buckling up at the front and back. Now, the seatbelt laws are notoriously toothless. They are generally offenses that you tag on to other issues. So you get pulled over for drunk driving, and someone isn't wearing a seatbelt kind of scenario, and you get the seatbelt issue like thrown on. Officers aren't spying into your car with binoculars. The state has heavily moved away from pulling folks over for low-level infractions, and I don't think the seatbelt law is. I think the seatbelt law is one of the things you can't be pulled over exclusively just because of the seatbelt issue. It has to be in conjunction with something else. So
yeah, and as you've said, we've seen those changes over the years, whether it be a taillight out or the smell of marijuana or something like that. We've seen those laws change since 2020.
Your inspection sticker or the like. You can't be pulled over exclusively for that. And the seatbelt laws are in that same bucket. So the seatbelt stuff is always tagged on. So my thought process is, if you're getting pulled over, who isn't, buckling up before you complete the pullover process? Like I don't know how people are caught. I don't know how that ticket gets written. Who gets pulled over and is like, I'm just going to keep my seatbelt off? Like,
I don't know who's not buckling up. I mean, honestly, it just seems to me like a no-brainer. Right? I mean, you get in a roller coaster. You want to put that black belt down, right? Because you might fall out. I'm sorry, your car is more dangerous than a roller coaster.
It's got to be youths. It's got to be the youngins who just, think that absolutely nothing bad can happen to them, and unfortunately, bad things do happen to them. And so, the spirit of it is, this is settled science, so to speak. Seatbelts are good. They save lives, and as long as it isn't a primary offense, I don't want our state police and local police driving around binoculars, looking into windows, and pulling people over because they aren't wearing seatbelts. But it will remain sort of a secondary crime. And so again, it's meant more as we are trying to heighten it in the consciousness of the public. I was shocked at the statistics that I don't know how my car won't let me drive without making me nuts because it beeps. It'll just beep.
Right.
Until the seatbelt is on.
Right.
And it's got that key where it's like, do you want to turn off all the safety stuff for your passenger? And I'm like, I don't even know how to do that. I don't know why that's there. So I don't think people are really doing that. It's got that little thing like turn off the airbag.
Do you not care about this person sitting next to you? Here, press this button here.
Right. It's like to turn off all the safety stuff for the person in your passenger seat. And I was like, I don't think anybody's using that. So modern cars, largely, I don't think they let you get away with it. They will drive you nuts until you put your seatbelt on. And so, I'm in the pro seatbelt bucket. I think the issue is, the person driving, theoretically, they can take I think the idea is minors aren't in a position to make a choice, and so you should bias on the side of seatbelts. Passengers aren't responsible for how the driver is driving, and so if the driver is ultimately reckless, then the passengers need to have that extra layer of protection. So, I don't think, meet me in the town square and argue why your children shouldn't have seatbelts in the back seat. And
yeah, I mean,
that
come on.
conversation.
It's a no-brainer. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, like the age-old argument is, I'm only hurting myself if I don't buckle up, and the likelihood of me getting in an accident and my body going through the windshield and careening with somebody who's walking down the sidewalk is very low. That's kind of not what it's about. It's actually I mean, come on, don't you? I mean, they save lives.
I think it's in the spirit of when I think we're trying to remind people that when you are the driver, you are it's so mundane to us. You get in the car and you go somewhere. But when you are the driver, you are taking on a responsibility of the other people in the car too. And so this is something to just be front of mind and mindful that what you're doing is, important to the decisions you're making about the safety inside of your vehicle are important to the people. You're the captain of the ship, and you need to make sure everyone has a life preserver.
All right. Yeah. No, it's wear your seatbelt. I mean, it's just that wear your seatbelt. It's that easy. This Virginia Mercury law. We also talked about this Virginia Mercury story, the 495 next extension. I mean, we have got this vast network of these toll lanes across from Fredericksburg now up to Maryland and now to Washington D.C. and we thought we may get them over to the Woodrow Wilson Bridge on the other side of 495, but it looks like the powers that be decided that's not in the near-term plans, at least for now anyway. But I mean, I was on these things the other day. We took them from our home from Stafford County up to Maryfield in Fairfax County. And, it would have cost us if we weren't carpooling like we were. We had three occupants in my car.
Right.
$100, $100+ to get up. Yeah. I mean, it's absolutely and the traffic was backed up in the express. We were going in the morning. It was a morning commute. We were about 8:30 in the morning. The traffic was backed up to get from the express lane on I-395 to the express lane on I-495. It was just nuts. I mean, are these things out of control? I mean, when we talk about Thanksgiving travel, I mean, come on. Are we just, I mean, $100 to use the toll lane plus? I mean, it was like 90. I saw a sign. It was almost the same going south on, it was Tuesday or Wednesday of last week during the Thanksgiving travel rush in Fredericksburg. I mean, that's nuts.
Yeah, I mean, there should be caps. There should be limits. Clearly the thresholds are getting out of hand. When I was a young man in West Virginia, there were toll roads on the turnpike going home from college and the like. And if the line got too long, the state police just came by and opened up the toll roads and were like, "You're a safety hazard, go." And that was just built in the tolls contract. It was just freebie for the day. You need to get folks out of here because people are going to start rear-ending each other, and that's a problem. And so, and that was like a state police decision. And so that was the best time to go because it was toll. The tolls were free, and the road was ultimately clear. So you have to have upper limits on it. It's going to be the great debate of transportation in Northern Virginia. How do you monetize the road? You're privatizing the roads, you're monetizing the roads. A lot of
it just seems to me the whole system is punitive. It's like you pay. You have to pay a bunch of money to use them, and you're punished by your pocketbook, or you have to sit in the regular lanes and you're paid. You have to be punished for not using them.
Right. Clearly, we're not meant to drive anywhere. I mean. Obviously, your mistake was leaving Stafford and going to Maryfield. So I think that was what they were telling you was shop more local, Uriah.
That's right. That's right. Find a doctor. Find everything right down the street from you, even if it's absolutely. I'll start looking on Facebook Marketplace for all my medical care and see what's.
Every strip mall needs a cobbler and somebody who can do.
An old Conan O'Brien joke is you say cobbler, and I'm gonna have to say I believe newspapers are solid. They're not going anywhere. They'll be around. They've been around. They'll be around forever. And if you don't believe me, ask my blacksmith. So all right. Well, we'll keep an eye on those developments on the region's transportation network. All right, we're going to move on now to our final story. Very excited about this. Hello and welcome to the Potomac Local Podcast, everyone. I'm your host, Uriah Kaiser, founder and publisher of Potomac Local News. Joining us on the podcast today is Delegate Ian Lovejoy. I know you're a fan of eating out. Like me, if you're like me, you love having a nice dinner out.
Absolutely.
You know, and this story comes to us from the Prince William Times, and I'm so excited about this story because we have been waiting for this headline. I'll say I've been waiting for 20 years because, and I'll tell you why. I'll go into that magic number here in a bit.
This is Bucky's level excitement.
Yeah. If you've been following Bucky's, I mean, I'm actually more excited about this than well, I don't know. I'm pretty excited about Bucky's, but at any rate, Great American Restaurants announced that they are coming to Gainesville in 2027. So what is Great American Restaurants, do you ask? If you've ever been to Sweetwater Tavern, if you've ever been to Mike's American, if you've ever been to any of those restaurants that have traditionally been in Fairfax County, in Northern Virginia, for Arlington, those places closer into D.C. Now there is one coming to Prince William County in Gainesville. It'll be located at 14100 Whitney Road. It'll be a about 16,000 square foot property, restaurant with patio. This building that they're going to raise to build this restaurant is the old VDOT building that was there. You might remember years ago, VDOT came in and they built this, what we have today, this single point urban interchange over at Linton Hall and Route 29 and over the railroad track and over the river and through the woods in Gainesville. And VDOT used this old building as their headquarters for that project. Well, VDOT's been done with that project for many, many years now. And the building has sat empty. I believe at one point it was an old bank. So it looks like they're going to raise it and we're going to get our first Great American Restaurant. The question is, which one?
That's a great question. I would just say as a point of background, I, as a younger man, was an ambassador for the Chamber of Commerce, and I was at the ribbon cutting for that bank. So I can't tell you how young it makes me feel to now see it become derelict and be on the verge of being razed to the ground. So that really makes me feel great this afternoon. I'm for anything. You know, these guys are great. The folks who own this is, make Gainesville great, American great again. This is let's do it. It's wonderful because one, you're getting rid of that eyesore. I mean, it's the kind of building kids are daring each other to go into at night. Two, who doesn't like any of the restaurants in the Great American chain? Sweetwater's would be wonderful. I'll take anything they've got. I mean, I think they're unifying forces, Aussie rolls across all of them. So
amen. That's you nailed it. That's it. Yeah. I don't care whether Mike Coastal Flats or Mike's American or Sweetwater. Those Aussie rolls, which are little bits of fried donut put into this bread basket with a bunch of other crap that you don't want. Right? They make it look nice. Yeah. But really, you want the Aussie rolls. That's what you want? And if you've never had this delicacy, you will eat one and you were like, where have you been all my life? What have I been doing with my life? I'm not the person I thought I was.
I was at an event at Patty's, which is another Great American restaurant, weeks and weeks ago, and they had catered it. It was inside of Patty's, one of their big dining rooms, and there was obviously their food catered in the back. And someone was asking questions about the food, and some gentleman was like, "Oh, like kind of a stranger, just was like, oh, that's salmon, and that's mushrooms, and that's done into this sauce, and that's done into this sauce." And I was like, this guy really knows his Great American restaurant food. And then later, he was introduced as one of the owners of the entire franchise. So I was like, okay, I get why you understand the food so well.
That is so. That is interesting you say that because so I said 20 years ago, and 20 years ago I was between jobs. I was looking for work. I was out of work, and so I was making a change in careers, if you will. And I was hired by the Great American Restaurant Company, fine company they are, to come work in their Centerville Sweetwater Tavern. Yeah. And I had done restaurant work before, and it's come in, and here's the menu, and try not to forget it, and be nice and be upbeat, and people will tip you, and you'll make a little bit of money, and you'll be fine. If we really like you, we might put you behind the bar if we can trust you, if we like you. But here, the first 2 weeks of training were inside of a corporate boardroom, eating, just going around and tasting all the different food and studying the menus and looking at presentation and how to dress yourself and how to greet properly. And I mean, it was unlike anything that I had ever seen in the restaurant business. And of course, I've worked at a couple different restaurants, and none of them were ever at the level of the Great American Restaurant. And so when they say Great American, that's why they're great.
And they clearly love what they do, and it's a regional chain, so they're not so big it's corporatized, but they're not so small that they can't do a diversity of things. I guess Sweetwater might be their most prolific brand, so maybe it's a sweet. I have no insider information, but I mean, I will take anything. I'm only disappointed that it's going to take over a year.
Yeah, well, and while we wait, now we also have news, and this story comes from to us from Cher Music at the Prince William Times, and Cher has been all over the Gainesville restaurant scene in the past few weeks, because she's not only broken this story, but also the story of the Silver Diner that will replace out of the blue in Gainesville, literally just across the street from where this Great American Restaurant is set to go. So. Look, Silver Diner is another one of those restaurants that has changed over the years. We just had one open up in Fredericksburg this time last year in Central Park, and I believe that is they're a Maryland-based chain. So the one in Fredericksburg in Central Park is their most furthest, southernmost outpost, if you will. But I remember as a kid going to the Silver Diner at Potomac Mills, and it was a greasy spoon. I mean, they had all the gravy, the grits, the sausage, the bacon, and you went there, and over the years they have transformed into this different type of diner where they have fresh fish and vegetables and salads and it's kind of anything but. They've sort of shed that greasy spoon feel for something much better, in my opinion. However, much more expensive. It's not, it's not cheap.
I had the greatest drunken ribeye of my life at a Silver Dollar, and I went on a lark, had the drunken ribeye. I thought it was a menu staple. Foolish of me. 2 weeks later, I go back because I'm like, I need to have this drunken ribeye again. And that was chef special. That was like a one-off. And I literally would call them periodically to be like, when is this thing coming back? And I missed it. It never came back. And to this day, I am like seeking out the drunken ribeye that I had this one time 8 years ago. But yeah, everything they do well. I think it speaks heavily to you. There's a good scene brewing and in that Gainesville corridor. On Lynn Hall Road, Atlas Walk, and the like. I mean, you've got some really cool things over there. The Trummer's Wine and Coffee Bar, of course. I mean, you've got a
very cool place. Yes,
very cool place. Very small, very boutique. But you have that nice mix of corporate shops, which who doesn't like a Firebirds and who doesn't like an Uncle Julio's now and again. But if you want, you've got the local stuff, the local and regional flair, and it works in there. I'm glad to see Tula Jou's been backfilled. Spent too much time at Tula Jou. It was just out of this world pastry stuff. And so, they moved out, and so you've got Shotted moving in, which is pastry and coffee, and so that's nice. And so nothing stays vacant long. So we're happy to see that the churn there is good. The diversity of food options there is great, and it's only 15 minutes from my house, so it's a dangerous temptation to spend a lot of time over there.
Yeah, no, I think regular is the word for you, and it sounds like you chased the drunken ribeye at Silver Diner like I chased the McRib at McDonald's. It's kind of
it doesn't show up on DoorDash. Like that was I was like, I'm gonna McRib it. I know it's out. They made no secret that the McRib was back. Tried to order it on DoorDash and could not. So I'm not quite prepared to make a trip in.
Well, speaking of making a trip on the McRib, and I'll be honest, I have not had a McRib this year. They come back around this time. I have not had one, but I have not seen them on. I have a 5-year-old daughter, so I'm periodically going through the McDonald's drive-through line. Trust me. Sure. But I have not seen the McRib on the McDonald's menu in our area. But we were in Williamsburg 2 weeks ago, and there it was. The Williamsburg folks were having McRib, and I don't think Northern Virginians are eating McRib.
That must be it, because my impression was that it's back, and it's back everywhere, but evidence to the contrary, I don't know that it's actually back in Northern Virginia at the moment.
Yeah, no McRib for you. No.
Well, the animal they make it out of went extinct, so there's probably
it's your new AI friendly McRib. It's
that's
new.
That's a Simpsons joke, so don't sue me, Fox. But
all right, hey, listen, I thank you very much for coming and hanging out with me on the podcast today. And if you've been watching and liking and commenting, I thank you too. You've had a very well. Before I get into that, I want to say, I want to tell everybody that you and we've talked about hosting a podcast together 10 plus years ago, before you made it big in the world of Virginia politics and became the guy that you are today. And so it is a pleasure to finally just come on and just talk to you about things and not have to be interviewing you and where were you and why did you do this? This to me, it's more fun.
Yeah, I appreciate that too. It's nice to just have the conversation and be the conversation. So I appreciate that opportunity.
Yeah. So you've had a busy year this year. You unfortunately things did not go the way you wanted them to in the election. But nonetheless, people know you, they love you. They've worked alongside you in the community for years. You have been a staple of Manassas and Western Prince William County. So what's next for you? What will you be doing here in 2026 and beyond?
I mean, we have finally unpacked our house completely. So we moved pretty much this time a year ago, then immediately to our forever home in Nokesville. So we closed on that a week before Thanksgiving 2024, and then couldn't move that quickly. So we had Thanksgiving at our old house, and then finally moved in early December. But we were weeks away from the start of General Assembly session in Richmond. And so barely got moved in, ran back to Richmond, spent 6 weeks down there. I was fortunate enough, my wife joins me, and so we get an Airbnb when we would go down there. So spent a lot of time in Richmond, and then came back, and really you're starting the campaign. So this past year has been very heavy towards the campaign. And so very happy the last couple of weeks to finally get the opportunity to really move into our house and enjoy it and be comfortable in it. I look forward. I don't know what next chapters will be. I always want to stay involved in the community and give back to the community I love. But it's not, not winning the election you want to win has its downsides, but it's not without its upsides. There is time now, more time to do things, different things. And so I'll be working on some personal and professional projects through 2026, and we can talk about those as we go forward. But 15 years. I mean, I have on my mini fridge in my office in Richmond, the first little plaque is Architectural Review Board, City of Manassas. And that's where it all kind of started 15 years ago. And it's been, if not elected, then certainly on boards and commissions for a solid 15 years. And when I ended my time on the Manassas City Council, I was like, this is kind of it. And it's time to look at those next chapters. And then the delegate seat became an opportunity that I never expected in a million years. And so I don't believe in making final plans, because the world is weird like that and strange opportunities come out. And but I'm excited to have capacity and time to not only continue to give back in some way to this community, but to just explore some other things in life. And I'm looking forward to that.
Well, you are welcome back here anytime to come on and talk with me about the day's news, about what Silver Diner had the drunken ribeye the other night. I know you and I both are avid fans of Star Trek. I know we could probably take up an hour talking about why what is it? Is it Star Trek Discovery is not real Star Trek? But we can save that.
It's just Star Trek Discovery, for all its faults, was crucial in rebooting Star Trek to get us the Star Trek we know and love.
To give us 2 seasons of Jean-Luc Picard that I'll never get back of my life. What is that? 16 hours of time I'll never get back from my life.
But those 2 seasons got us the 3rd, which is all we ever really wanted.
Yeah, absolutely. Which I teared up. I'm not lying. I teared up at the end of the 3rd.
Nancy and I went and saw it in the theater. They did the last 2 episodes of that season in a theater in DC, and you could get tickets and kind of watch it as a movie. So we trekked up.
I like that.
it's what the people want. At the end of the day, you can call it fan service, you can call it Easter eggs, call it whatever you like. But you and I joked once that really in Star Wars, all we really want is a movie called Star Wars Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And it's just Darth Vader. And that's all anybody wants. You're just waiting around for Darth Vader to show up or be mentioned or some kind of allusion to him. So just give the people what they want. Take our money.
I mean, that's and that's it. If you ask me, Star Wars, even the prequels, it's all about one character. It is about Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader. It is his story arc, the progression from being a kid all the way through his death at the end of the Jedi. Yeah. What we got in 2014 and down the road with Disney, I don't even know what that was. I have no idea. And it's so funny. We were watching it, and we again, you'll have to come back because we can go on for an hour. But we were watching. We had the Disney Christmas parade on yesterday in our house streaming, and my wife says to me, "Look at the people in the audience. I see very few children. They're all Disney adults." And I said, the way to explain that is what has Disney released in the past 20 years that has been so great, that has just got the masses to come in and love it? I mean, these are all fans of The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Lion King, and they're our age now, and they're flocking to Disney World to do Disney kid things.
Well, it's Disney. There's value in nostalgia. And so you have an ever increasing number of 30, 40, and 50-year-olds who desperately want to think back to different times. Well, they have the disposable income, and this is how they're choosing to spend it. And I've got my science fiction tchotchkes room full of things that I shouldn't have spent money on, but I did. That, I have an Atari, I have a Nintendo Classic. Like, everyone's rebuying all the stuff their mom gave away when they went to college. And, it's a strategy. I don't know how it lasts another 50 years. You're right. Disney's gotten pretty good at making decent movies, but not ones that sort of shift the ethos of the population as much as Star Wars did back in the day. I remember when they announced, I was at work, and they announced that Disney was buying Lucasfilm. They were buying Star Wars. And a colleague of mine showed me the article about it, and it had R2-D2 with mouse ears, like a hat, like an R2-D2 hat and a C-3PO hat with mouse ears. And that was how they announced that this merger was happening. And she was in awe. She was like, "Aren't they creative? Just look at how creative they are by just like putting those mouse ears on those robots. Isn't that real clever?" And I was like, if you think that this is it, like if you think this is the beginning, like if you think that this is all they're going to do is throw some mouse ears on some robot heads, and that's all Disney is going to do with Star Wars, you are painfully mistaken. But just like Star Trek, it's like it's the 80-20 rule. You have to sort of suffer through 80% of it, and then you get the 20. You get Andor. You suffer the movies, and then you get Rogue One.
Yeah, which was amazing, hands down.
And then you don't have those things. You have to take the bitter with the sweet. And I watch it. If it comes out, I watch the show. I'll tell you, if you haven't watched Foundation on Apple Plus, great television.
I will have to. I will have to check that out. I will have to check that out.
We'll do a pop culture episode, and we'll talk about Wicked. And
I like that, but I want you to rate things just like you just said. Either don't know it or I'll watch it. Right? Just say that I'll watch it. It's good. Right?
Sure.
Who needs 5 stars when you have an Ian Lovejoy saying, "I'll watch it."
I'll watch it.
Yeah,
that's
works for me.
Yeah. What am I doing? How am I so busy? I can't watch a little more Star Wars. So.
This has been fun, man. Thank you so much for coming on.
Awesome, man. Have a good one. Until next time.
And thank you for coming on the Potomac Local Podcast. If you want more of this, please, you know where to find us, potomaclocal.com. Go to our YouTube page. Please like and subscribe so we can increase not only our followers, but reach our goal of 1,000 followers here on YouTube. And if you're on Facebook, thank you so much for your continued support. Please like and comment. We're going to try to do this periodically throughout the week, because there's always something to talk about here at Potomac Local. Have a great first week of December. And again, we might see you at the Christmas parade on Saturday in Fredericksburg. Parade starts at 5:30. Talk to you soon.